Welcome back. You watch Your Morning Live. Thank you very much for staying with us. We're a couple of minutes before the hour of 7. We'll have more news for you then. And, of course, we'll take you through what's going to happen. Also, don't forget the book slot just after 6:30. It's a feature here on Morning Live. Now, Encounters at Night, They Walk With Me, and Nyaope, Everything You Give Me, My Boss Will Do, are the titles of a joint exhibition by 3 young photographers at the Johannesburg Art Gallery until the 14th of August. Free From My Happiness showcases the work of 3 photographers from the Of Soul and Joy project. All 3 photographers are based in Thokoza and joined the OSJ project 3 years ago while they were still students at Buhlebuzile secondary school in Thokoza. This exhibition was also part of the Gent Photo festival in Belgium last year. To tell us more, we are joined by Mazibuko, who's an artist and curator of the exhibition, Bruyneel. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. Choven, let's start with you. What was the brief to these young, amazing, creative photographers? Or how did this originate, this idea?
When Beacon is also part of the creator, is also a creator of this expo. She came actually with the idea to do something in the photo festival because we are both based in Gent. So we looked into the older students, and actually all the older students were working around Thokoza, and they all had these great projects. So we basically selected the students in terms of how well they were presenting, in terms of how well they were motivated, and also like the tendency towards the class. And that's actually how we started.
Okay.
As it was very easy because everything was actually already based around Thokoza, and that was also then our main topic.
And when you look at some of these pictures, they're really, really powerful pictures. Let me bring you into this conversation. As one of the artists, what drew you to kind of depict this aspect? You could have done anything.
Well, I think for me, the subject matter I chose to photograph was that because I grew up in Thokoza, and I'm sure you're well aware of the history of Thokoza, and we've had many people telling stories about Thokoza, but no one has actually spoken of Thokoza from the person who's actually from Thokoza. So I actually wanted to have like a voice and talk about my own community. I think that's what we're all doing now.
So having that voice, what were the elements that you identified that you wanted to speak to people? That if you never came from Thokoza, that you would get a sense of this area in South Africa?
Well, mostly it would have to be that a community that has a history that is not pretty, but then we want to move forward with it. Yeah.
From a curator perspective, this is also kind of shown in Belgium and all of that. How challenging was it to kind of find that middle ground? Because the Free From My Happiness, it's a very quirky theme for exhibition.
I worked with the students already since we both worked already with the students since 2012. So we also know their background, and I also used to live here. So I know the history a little bit of South Africa, and then it also makes sense to talk about this quirkiness because when I arrived here, everything is quirky. There's all these different kind of layers of underground things that can be said and not can be said. So a quirky team was supposed to be.
What does it mean for an artist when you get this idea? Was the idea formed of Free From My Happiness post the work, or was it set up before they went out as photographers to go and contribute to this?
They had actually already their bodies of work.
Okay.
So
it was your experience to curate that under this theme.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you when somebody says Free From My Happiness as an artist?
It means that you're actually free to express yourself. You're free from the community, that because there's a stereotype of when you come from the township, you have like one route of, you probably, as a girl, I'm probably going to get pregnant and not finish school, whatever, but then I'm actually free from that happiness, which is Thokoza when it's translated. So that's how we came about the title, and that's what it means to me, that I'm actually free to express myself and reach out for my goals.
And the reaction from people that have seen it? And the reaction from audience members, people that have attended the exhibition?
In Belgium it got a good response, because they are not actually used to see this kind of series. In generally, what we get to see from South Africa are the cliché themes, and they, because they're talking from their self and from their own voice, and that's why also those projects are so powerful, is because each of the student has their own voice. So it's not anymore a cliché project what they came up to. So because of that, it got a very good response.
Your parents must be very proud. Are you very proud?
Yeah, they're very proud.
Guys, thank you very much for joining us. It's Tsepiso Mazibuko. She's a photographer. She's one of the 3 that's featured in an exhibition called Free From My Happiness, along with curator of the exhibition, Bruyneel. Now, you can get to see this exhibition at the Johannesburg Art Gallery from the 14th of August. So go and check it out. We're taking a break. Don't go anywhere. Awesome.